Three, two, one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Founders Log. I'm your host, Calvin Wineland. Today is January 8th, 2022. Founders Log number 28. Well, whether you're joining us online, listening to us, or checking us out on our website, welcome to the first week of 2022. We did this on day one, January 1st. It has been an adventure, to say the least. How is everyone's new year, new me mentality going? The second iteration of these Founders Log for the new year. That can only mean that we are continuing to play the commitment role here. This has definitely been one of the things that I hope to set as a goal for us here at American Butchers JERKi. I figure I'll continue these Founders Logs weekly as I can, as long as I don't have an excuse to have a break. Because, let's be honest, in a busy lifestyle, a break will ultimately work itself into my life. Kind of like going to the gym. There isn't really a necessity to take a rest day because more times than not, those rest days seem to just kind of incorporate themselves in, because with a busy lifestyle, a rest is sometimes just kind of factored in and you can't go to the gym. One of the things that I also like about doing this podcast, or the written version over on our website, is it gives me an opportunity to... It gives me a weekly recap, allowing me to practice a skill that, if I'm being honest, doesn't always get the attention that it deserves. I came up with this story type of mentality and helps me portray it not only on a paper, but allows me to recap it through a podcast like this, and gives me an opportunity to look back into the past week, look back into the past few weeks of American Butchers JERKi, and kind of recap on not only the writing style and some of the other things that I really actually enjoy with communicating here. So we have the written version, the vocal version. Everything is on our website, on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on Spotify. So we pretty much cover all avenues in case you want to determine how you want to listen or read. Now, without further ado, the past week. So if you don't know how we kick these off, the Founders Log is brought to you in three parts: the past, the present, and the future. Each one where we annotate and allocate the past week, the current week of what we're working on, and we look at towards the future. So the past week. Well, let me first start off with this. It is a challenge running a business from a completely different country. What do I mean by this? Well, if you're new to the storyline here, I am currently deployed overseas and have been for the past 6 months. While I'm over here, American Butchers JERKi is currently being handled by my lovely parents. Thank you, Mom and Dad. They handle everything from production to processing to shipping. So what is it that I do? Well, I seem to handle everything related to the website, the blog posts, the customer engagement and feedback. It definitely does not seem to equal out between what they do back in the States and what I do currently overseas. The biggest challenge that we present in this process right now is the delay in order transactions. And order transactions, well, I'm going to explain. When everything was being handled with me, orders could pretty well be turned around within 24 hours. I receive an order and I can ship it out, all while handling the thank you letters, printing the labels, handling any day-to-day necessities, and I could do all that pretty well within 24 hours while I was in the States. Well, now that I've eliminated myself from the equation for a short time, this lag time has increased just a little bit. Think about it like this. American Butchers JERKi is my baby. It's my pride and joy. When you create something, you want it to be the very best, and you'll work extremely hard for it. Now, when you hand that project off to someone else, that same type of compassion or commitment to a project won't always transfer over to that person. Now, I'm not saying that my parents don't 100% provide a high level of appreciation and work to making something like this happen, but it isn't their number one priority. They too have an entirely other business to run with their own problems and their own goals, and are taking the time out of their busy days to assist with making American Butchers Jerky possible while I'm currently overseas. This brings us to our present situation. The orders aren't turning as fast as they previously have been. With the holiday season just past us, my folks took a leave of absence and enjoyed the festivities. What does this mean for American Butchers Jerky? Well, it had to be put on a temporary pause as there was no one to smoke beef jerky or process orders or fulfill them. As a small business with a small team, it's important to make time for family and friends and understand that work can be put on pause to enjoy the holiday season. It essentially means that we had to let all of our customers know for that the time frame of the holiday season we would be halting operations. And I put out an email through that for all of you, and any orders that came in directly, I made sure to pretty much let the customer know that something was happening as this was being put on. So, as the holiday now has began to conclude, and we thought a normal lifestyle would soon be approaching, well, things began to take another unexpected turn. Now, especially when your parents now find themselves with COVID, self-isolating and not returning to work for an unknown expected time. So, now that as I sit here with the orders ready, needing to be fulfilled, we honestly can't at this moment be able to provide the quick response turnaround that we've normally have been able to in previous orders. This is one of the challenges that as a small business we face. And because we don't have many employees, we don't have many orders, so when unexpectedly things to start to get into our path like this, we have to react in the best way that we can moving forward. Now, as we look to the future, some orders are 2 weeks overdue, and deep down inside, it hurts a little bit. I'm so far away from the fight or where the action happens that I can't be there to fulfill orders myself. So when customers reach out asking for a status on their orders, ultimately the only thing that we can do is be as transparent as possible and provide them as much information as we can given the current situation. At times, I sometimes wish that American Butchers Jerky could hire a full-time employee that would prioritize the handling with everything related to ABJ while I'm away, and this would also allow them to take some of the extra work off my parents' lap. But in reality, with the order quantities that we're currently putting out and only 6 months left here in my deployment, this type of thing is only a dream. I do see this becoming a reality in the future, though, as we begin to grow and conquer new avenues. But honestly, this is what this is about. The future gives us a look and seeing at where ABJ could be taken one day. I do hope that things hopefully start to clear up and customers can appreciate that we are a small business and they can recognize this and ensure that I can 100% guarantee that we are doing our absolute best to ensure that your beef jerky tastes amazing, it supports an amazing cause, and it comes in an appropriate amount of time. There are different challenges that we face each week, and each week this founder log allows me to figure out how we're going to handle it and prepare ourselves for next week. Ultimately, it comes down to one day at a time, doing our very best to try and make everything work, and it's a whirl. But I want to just take this time to thank you all for listening to this recap of the Founders Log for this last week of January 8th. I appreciate you all for sticking with us, and if your order is 2 weeks late, I do apologize. Thank you for working with us, and I hope to hear from you or talk to you all next week as we get into the 29th episode of the Founders Log. Thank you. Auf Wiedersehen. Arrivederci. Goodbye. We'll talk to you later.